What's up, kings and queens? Welcome back to Bad Habits Kingdom. I do apologize. We haven't been able to get the videos done lately. Today is July 13th. It makes it 9 years ago today the Evansdale murders took place. So it's been 9 years that the killer has not been caught. That is a long, long time. When it comes to cases, they say the first 48 hours, of course, is the most important. That's when they pretty much have the case under control and when they can pretty much have the best chances of it getting solved. You're talking 9 years. 9 years. This is insane. Okay? 9 years is ridiculous. I mean, that's outrageous. When you're talking 9 years of a killer that murdered two little girls in a very small town is walking the streets, it's a shame. It really, really is. You know, a lot of people know about the Delphi case. We all know about the Delphi case, and that killer has been getting away with it. We don't hear a lot of talk about the Evansdale. There are some videos about it and some stuff online, but we definitely need to get more exposure to it. We definitely need to add the pressure. We need to contact the Evansdale police, see if there's any update, if they're working on anything, you know, just to see what's going on, because this case is 9 years today. Today's the anniversary of the murders of Evansdale. July 13th, 2012. Elizabeth Collins and Lyric Cook Morrissey were murdered for just riding their bikes. They were just riding their bikes and they ended up murdered. You know, one of my subscribers sent me an email, and a lot of my videos I do get emotional, especially when I talk about little girls getting killed, especially little kids in general, but especially little girls. I have a little girl. I have a 1-year-old daughter. I couldn't even imagine. That's why I like to try to help with these cases, even though the chances are really, really tough. It's really hard, but we got to do something. Evansdale, Iowa. Very small town, very close to Waterloo. I think that's how you say it, Waterloo. So the one thing I want to go over is the family, the background. Now, Lyric's dad, both families had history of drugs, but Lyric's dad, Dan, is now in prison for serving a 90-year sentence, I believe. Minimum of 30 years, if my information's correct. That's a long-ass time, don't get me wrong. And a couple of people were asking, do I think this case was drug-related? You know, there's a lot of cases that are drug-related. A lot of cases. This one, I just don't feel like that's the case here. I don't think it's drug-related. I think this is more of just a very evil person. You know, a lot of times, you know, people ask me when we talk about the Delphi case, the killer, they're just pure evil. Pure evil. That's it. There's no nothing. There's no excuses, you know, nothing like that. Pure evil. That's it. You have to be truly evil to take little girls, little kids in general, and murder them. Lyric and Elizabeth were riding their bikes. It was around noon time. They were at their grandmother's house. They decided to go for a bike ride. Summertime, you know, just like what you did when we were kids. They were seen about a mile and a half away from their grandmother's house riding the bikes. A security camera caught the girls riding. Lyric's mother shows up. They start getting concerned. After an hour of the girl's disappearance, their grandmother got really concerned. because it wasn't like the girls to go far from home when it was riding their bikes. They would just stay around the grandma's house. Now, the grandma did live in downtown Evansdale. But when I talk about downtown Evansdale, I'm not talking a major city downtown. It's totally different. They're downtown. Excuse me. So she begins to worry after an hour. Lyric's mother shows up to pick her up. The girls are not there. They begin worrying. They start contacting family and friends. No response. No one's seen them. No one's heard from them. Nothing. 2 hours after the girls went missing, they contacted police and reported the girls missing officially to Evansdale police. Police did not suspect foul play at first. Now, this really gets to me, okay? Now, every time I talk about these cases, I try to make it clear. When it's kids especially, they should automatically assume foul play, and they never do. They always think they ran away or they're just out playing around or something like that. Police in every city, when it's kids who are missing, they should hop on it like it's foul play. It's the worst of the worst, especially when it's kids. How old? I mean, come on. You think those little girls ran away? No money, no job, no car. Where do you think they're going to go? Come on. I mean, they already contacted family and friends. No response. Okay. So they don't assume foul play at first. So they started looking for the girls. Hundreds of searches, a search party with the hundreds of volunteers come out. I think this is about the next day, and FBI gets involved. They finally reach out to outside help to the FBI. FBI brings in divers to search into Myers Lake because they found the girls' bike in a Lyric's purse. I believe it was Lyrics. It could have been Elizabeth. We'll look it up. But they found one of the girls' purse and their bikes on the corner of Myers Lake. They were even gonna what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Go on, not send divers, but when you drain the lake, I guess you would say. Is that how you would say it? They were gonna take all the water out. They were even considering that. FBI comes up unsuccessful, looking for the bodies. No one knows what happens. They just disappeared. Boom, vanished. Nowhere to be seen. 1 second here. Nobody knows where they're at. Sorry about that. 5 months goes by. 5 months. December 5th, 2012, the bodies were covered by hunters of Elizabeth Collins and Lyric Cook Morrissey. The police don't want any false confessions, so they don't release information on how the girls were killed. They flat out said, we're not telling anybody, including the parents, how it was done. One, we don't want false confessions, which did happen. We're going to get into that. And they want to make sure only the killer knows the information when they have the right guy. That's why they won't release information. They said they want to make sure they only have the only information that the killer would have, and they don't want false confessions. Now, false confessions did happen 2 times at least that I know about. There could have been more, but the information that I received, there was 2 false confessions. I don't know if people do it for publicity or what, but how in the hell can you go and confess to murdering 2 innocent kids when 1, you didn't do it, and 2, why would you want to be known for that? Why would that be like something you want to be remembered by? That makes no sense. 0. When when people were looking for the Zodiac back in the day, they had hundreds of false confessions. Hundreds. I don't understand it. I don't get it. This isn't where the cops have a teenager in the room and he has special special needs. I'll say it like that. And they're got them in there for 25 hours with no lawyer, no parent, and they're basically grilling them down to get a confession out. These are people that actually go into the police officers and saying, hey, we did this crime when they didn't. I don't get it. I do not get it. It makes zero sense to me. Zero. It's insane. I just can't understand it. I can't put my, these false confessions, and it's just crazy to me. It truly is crazy. Especially, why would you want to go confess to killing two little kids, two little girls? They had two that I know about. They could have had more false confessions, but I know they had two confirmed false confessions. I mean, that's just mind blowing to me. I don't get it. People want to go and have publicity. So they're going to go to the police station and say they killed two little girls who were riding their bikes on a summer day, minding their own business, just having a good old time. Why in the I gotta calm down. I'm gonna start cussing on YouTube, and I don't want to do that. But that's just insane to me. I truly don't really understand it whatsoever. Now, this case definitely needs to get more exposure. We need to put more pressure when it comes to this case. I mean, the Delphi case has a lot of support, a lot of notification. It has a lot of publicity. And the thing about when you deal with these kind of cases, they're true crimes. Yes, they're true stories. They're real families, real loss. So we always need to be careful and cautious on what we say and what we do and what we suspect and everything like that, because these are real families with real loss and real investigation. So yes, we always need to be careful on what we say and what we do. Totally get it. But 9 years. 9 years. To the day. It was July 13th, 2012. 9 years. The killer is walking around out there in plain sight. He doesn't feel any kind of heat anymore. He could be back in Evansdale living on whatever. 9 years? You think they had DNA from that? Fingerprints? Come on. With the technology we have? I get emotional when it comes to these cases because the chances of them catching this guy is very slim. Now, witnesses stated they saw an older white SUV. Okay. Yes, Evansdale might be a small town. Go outside the small town. Look up every registered older white SUV. I don't know if they did that. I'm assuming they did. The FBI got involved. FBI sent divers to the lake. Now, where the girls were found wasn't just like right on the side of the trail. They were like inside where you actually like have to, how can I say it? You have to like really hardcore search and like get to the place of where the girls are found. There was hundreds of people searching for the girls. Hundreds. I'm surprised they didn't catch up. And that's one of the questions one of my supporters emailed me. Do I think the bodies were dropped back off? Did they take the girls and then take them back? And that is a pretty good question. I thought for the longest time, no. I was thinking, no, they killed them and they just didn't find them. That's what I still kind of think that, but it does make you question. 5 months? Hunters and stuff go out there all the time. It's a pretty popular place. Yes, where the girls are found, it's not just right off the trail. It's back in there. But hundreds of volunteers. I would assume they check that area. Definitely. Especially when you have hundreds of volunteers searching. Two little girls that were riding their bikes. On a summer day, laughing, playing. That's it. They never harmed a soul. I really think they had a hard childhood because of their family. Certain drug issues involved with family. I'll say that. Me, I'm a recovering addict. I've been sober for 5 years, but when I was hooked, I know I put a lot of people that love me through hell. I mean, I didn't physically abuse them, but mentally, yeah. Those girls had a hard time if their families were involved in narcotics. Do I think narcotics has something to do with the murders of Elizabeth and Lyric? I don't think so. That's not what I feel. That's just my opinion. I don't think it had anything to do with it. Lyric's father, Dan, he owed money or something. I don't think it was anything like that. Nothing. I don't think it was anything like that at all. I personally think that pure evil killed them. Pure evil. It's safe to say that the chances of this case getting solved is going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. Really tough. And I hate saying it. I really do. But it's been a long time. 9 years. 9 years the killer is walking around in plain sight. He doesn't feel any pressure, any heat anymore. It's been 9 years. He could be dead for all we know. Died of old age. This case needs a lot of pressure. This case, we need to put some pressure on this case. I go through videos, I go through online and stuff like that. Look, let's see what we could come up with. Let's see this. Okay. I'm going to take my glasses off real quick. Just so I can see. We're going to share. I'm going to share screen. Okay. Share the screen. Okay, right here. Okay. This is where they were born. His cousin. Their mothers and sisters. The morning, the girls had been dropped off at the grandmother's house along Grove Boulevard in downtown Evansdale. They had been there a short while before deciding to go on a bike ride together. Now, you got to remember, this is summertime. Kids go out and play. All they're doing is riding a bike. They go around 12:15 at least. That's when the girl's grandmother recalls the two heading out in the front yard, setting off down the road. Okay, now I'm assuming most of the time when they go for bike rides and stuff, they always stay around the house. Okay, you stay in like your little area. But she did live in downtown Evansdale, so down the road probably isn't far. Okay, so here we go. Sometime between 12:30 and 1 p.m., the cousins were spotted riding the bikes on Gilbert Drive, okay, which is about 1.5 miles from their grandmother's house. Okay, this is not too far from Myers Lake, where local people go fishing and recreation, everything like that. So Myers Lake obviously is not far from the grandmother's house. So they probably thought, we'll just go down, turn around and come back. They're just having a good time in summer. That's all they were doing. I get really upset and emotional when I talk about these cases. You know, it's little kids outside playing, and some freaking psycho decided to come up and murder them. Okay, they were spotting down, you know, the 1,000 block of Lake Avenue, and still on their bikes together. Security caught the girls actually riding on their bikes. That was turned in, I believe, about a week later. Okay, more than an hour has passed since the girls left their grandmother's house. They had not yet returned. Their girl's grandmother, William Cook, started growing concern. Okay, about the. So that makes it really responsible because they were only gone for about an hour. Now things are different, obviously, because me, when I was gone for an hour, my family really didn't care. But like I said, we were always outside when I was a kid playing anyway. So they were definitely really responsible if they were only gone for an hour and they started worrying. Okay, now they were seen about 30 minutes after they first left the house. Okay, so here we go. Around friends and family. Okay, that's when they started contacting the friends and family. Okay, after they were unable to find Lyric and Elizabeth, the region around their grandmother's home, the family made the decision to report them missing to the local Evansdale Police Department around 2:48. So a little bit more than 2 hours after the girls disappeared, they were officially reported missing, which is kind of a short time because I've seen people reported missing like a day later. So 2 hours isn't, you know, it's actually a close window. You know, there's still stuff like if their girls are in danger, you can have a chance to catch them because 2 hours is it, and that's from when they left the house. That isn't from when the killer found them. Okay, excuse me. Since the girls headed out on their bike, or a search, the search for began. Wilma's home spread outwards towards the local park, schools, and other areas. Within an hour, Evansdale police had joined by deputies at Black Hawk Sheriff's Department, as well members of the local fire department, who began searching bike trails for the missing cousins. And find later that day inspired hope, but immediately raised alarming questions. On the trail located southeast corner of Myers Lake, the bikes belonging to Lyric and Elizabeth were found. Local firefighters made the discovery around 4 p.m. So the girls' bikes were found 4 hours from the moment they left the house, and a little over an hour, what is that, an hour and we'll say 10 minutes since they were officially reported missing. Also located this 8-year-old Elizabeth's purse. Okay, it was Elizabeth's purse, not Lyric's. I do apologize about that. I knew it was one of them, but of course, but I thought it was Lyric's. Okay, but the two girls were nowhere to be found. There seemed to be no trace of them near the location where the bikes were abandoned. Okay, so no footprints or anything like that. So I was assuming that the bikes were found like on a dirt area on the trail or something like that, but footprints were not there. Nor was there any kind of clues pointing in a single direction. So that answers my question. Okay. Okay, so what do we have right now? The girls left their grandma's house no later than 12:15 p.m. to go for a bike ride. They were seen about a half hour later, about a mile and a half away from their grandmother's house. That was not far from Myers Lake. The grandmother became concerned at around 1 p.m. when the girls did not return home, or she hasn't heard from them or anything like that. So obviously the girls were always in the immediate area of their grandmother's house, or they were never gone that long. If she became concerned after only an hour, you could tell they never really been outside longer than that before. Now, I knew she said that, but now that I'm reading it, I just didn't really understand. It's just different from me when I was a kid, because I would be outside all day long. When street lights went on, then you go home. Okay, so police began accommodating through the immediate area around Myers Lake, moving outwards in the hopes of locating any kind of clue. They began trekking through the entire search of land, the glade between where the girls had disappeared. To the location, their bikes were found. Soon enough, police were joined by hundreds of volunteers. Here's where I'm getting here's just what I don't understand. Where the girls were actually found. Yes, it wasn't on the trail. It was actually deep into the woods area. I get it. But there was still hundreds of volunteers. I am surprised that nobody came across them before. It took 5 months. 5 months? So that does raise a good question when they say, hey, do you think the girls were kidnapped and then their bodies dropped back off? Even though I don't agree that the girls were kidnapped and then had their bodies dropped off, it does raise that kind of question. Because it's a small town, family not only did these volunteers help physically search, but the girls all over the next several days. Candlelight visuals, press events, to raise awareness to keep the story in the news as long as possible. And that's what we need to do. That's why it can't just be on the anniversary of the girls' death. This case does not have what Delphi has. Delphi is a huge case. Now, I'm not saying any one of them is more special or more important, but Delphi is very well known. We need to make Evansdale just as well known. We need to keep the pressure on this case. We need to talk about it more. We need to get the name out there. We need to bring it up. We need the killer to feel the pressure. Okay? I can almost guarantee I can't guarantee this, but I would definitely assume the Delphi killer, bridge guy, I don't think he'll go anywhere near Delphi. He knows he's got people looking for his description, how he looks, how he dresses, and listening to that voice. I know if I listen to that voice all the time, hundreds of hours doing it, just over and over and over and guys down the hill, other people are doing it too, especially when it's an emotional case like this and we're on the hunt for this guy. I'm assuming he does feel some pressure. Like, yes, he's gotten away with it for 4 years, but he knows people are out there looking for him. He knows people are trying to find him. So he's definitely going to feel some kind of pressure. This guy's gotten away with it for 9 years, and it's not really talked about a whole lot so that we know about. I rarely hear anyone talking about the Delphi's case. Yes, there are videos. There's stuff online. Yes. I'm just saying, I personally have not heard a whole lot about this case. So that's the thing that we need to do together is get more involved in this case and bring it up and make this killer feel pressure that we're coming after you. We're not letting this case just slip away. You've been out there walking around for 9 years. We're just going to let you go. That shit ain't happening. All right. Well, what else we got? Okay. And the days after the disappearance, okay, we would obtain auction. Obtained from an auction. Look, he did this in grandma's home. The footage brief. So this is where the footage brief of the two cousins riding by on their bikes. It showed them right away from Myers Lake, riding away from Myers Lake around 12:11 p.m. Okay, now this is odd for the time frame because the grandmother said they left at 12:15, so she had to have had the time wrong. It had to have been around 12, but they were riding away from Myers Lake. I did not know that. The footage was brief. The cousins appeared in the footage for a second or two, but showed them surprisingly riding away from Myers Lake around 12:11 p.m. A time period that fit in with the established time frame. Investigators hoped that they could pinpoint more of the girls' bike trip with similar footage from other establishments. I did not know that the girls were seen riding away from Myers Lake. They were seen riding away, and they didn't turn around because their bikes were found there on the corner of Myers Lake. So how then they have footage of the girls turning around. Maybe they went a different way. Wow. That is a big shock to me. I did not know that. When I saw the footage, the photo of the girls riding, I thought they were riding towards Myers Lake. Wow, that's a big one. That is a big one. I had no idea about that. So the girls were last seen on that video camera riding away from Myers Lake. Their bikes were found at the corner of Myers Lake with Elizabeth's purse. I'm assuming no money or anything. They were little kids. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. That one definitely is a shocker. Wow. That is big. That's really big. They were last seen riding away. That definitely is something. They would have to rely upon effective methods, tracking the girls, such as scent dogs and witness statements. Let me pull this a little closer. Looks like it's not pretty. Okay. The FBI agreed to cooperate in the search for the two girls, sending some of their specifically trained divers. I do know that they sent divers in, and they're actually going to drain the lake as well. Yeah, partially drain the lake. There we go. And assisting the effort for ultimate ruthless. Okay. Myers Lake quickly became primary setting for the investigation. After all, it was the location and only the real evidence where the girls' bikes were found. Where known paths seemed to come at the end. It was believed that if anything happened to Lyric and Elizabeth, it had to happen there. Okay, now summertime, lake area. People go fishing, people go swimming. That's a popular place. And it's summertime. I don't know how many witnesses were involved in this case, so we definitely got to look into that. Now, I do know witnesses said they saw an older white SUV, so we're going to check that out. Investigators said yet to determine whether the cousins' disappearance were related to foul play. That drives me nuts every time I hear that or see that. I mean, maybe they thought an accident or something like that, but they need to stop doing that. All law enforcement, when it's two little kids, when it's any little kid, if they're missing, expect foul play. That should be the first priority, first step. And then if it's an accident or something, determine that later. Expect foul play right away. You get more motivation to look, hustle. You're trying to help. Not like, oh, they're probably just out playing, riding around. Could have been something accidental. There we go. Yeah, see. Dozens of volunteers scoped the area around the lake for any sign of the girls, but the following search around the lake, Myers Lake proved to be a dead end for investigators. Wow. Evansdale Police the investigation were numerous officials with the Iowa Department of Criminal Investigation as well as the FBI, who contributed more than 30 investigators to help search for the missing girls. Now, 30 investigators, I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot. While the search were being conducted around Myers Lake, investigations hitting up a known sex offender. Of course, that's the first thing you're going to do is get the sex offenders, not just in the town, but in the immediate towns around it. Which they should, because that's the first thing you're going to suspect. They were not the only known for sexual predators, but those that had expressed any kind of interest in underage in the past, be child porn or anything similar. Okay, many of these known sex offenders were interviewed numerous times by different investigators and several were brought in to take polygraph tests. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like any of these individuals were involved. I like how they had them do polygraph tests. I like that. Yeah, they should have had everybody do polygraph tests, definitely. Because at least they'll have an idea, where they could start from. As police cleared them all through through religious vetting process. Also vetted through the process were known acquaintances of the two missing girls, Lyric and Elizabeth, their parents, family members, and families of friends. Were interviewed by detectives who looked for any sign of description, and only physical interviews, written statements outside the police assumed that this was the worst possible outcome. It became clearer and clearer that the girls had likely been taken by a complete stranger. Someone that was not familiar to them prior to their disappearance. Okay, so I didn't know that either, because for a long time I was thinking more like the Delphi case, thinking that they probably knew the person that did this. I was wondering that for a while, but right here it says to police, it seemed like this might have been the worst possible outcome, and it is becoming clearer and clearer that the girls had likely been taken by a complete stranger, someone that is not familiar to them prior to their disappearance. Wonder where I know they interviewed friends of families and stuff like that, but you can't really rule that out. Because let's say the girls were taken and then their bodies were dropped back off. Okay. They're going to feel comfortable with someone that they know. They're going to feel like everything's okay, or someone they've even met a couple times. If it was a family friend, someone that Lyric's father did business with, maybe he came over a few times and they met him, even though they were drug related things that her dad was doing. She didn't know that she met him, maybe pissed him off somehow, ripped him off or something. Hey, you remember me? How about I take you guys to go get some ice cream or pizza or something like that? Leave your bikes here. We'll be right back. I mean, even though that's very unlikely, but still, you can't rule out the fact that the girls did not know the person that did this. Give me 1 second. Sorry. I just don't think you can rule that out just yet. Okay, give me 1 second. All right. For extended period of time, local police continued to reveal tips from the public for the next few weeks. And at least police officials estimate that they received 20 tips per hour. Wow. They're receiving 20 tips per hour. But by the end of the summer, that number had decreased roughly 40 tips a day. On July 20th, the week after Lyric and Elizabeth's disappearance, police seem to have ruled out any accidental cause. Good. Of course. This development allowed them to move to scope an investigation fully in abduction. Took them a week to do that, huh? A week. Okay. I'm not even going to respond to that. However, everyone involved continued to hope that the girls were alive and that they could be brought home safely. I'm not going to say the name, even though you guys could probably see it on your screen right now, but a spokesman for the FBI stated a month later this: "We believe the girls are alive and we are not discouraged by the passage of time since their disappearance. We are urging anyone with information to come forward. Any information, I can't even say, as it may seem, could be a vital to this investigation. So basically, any kind of information they wanted, even if it's a little something, it could be big. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about this for a minute. So what I didn't know is that the girls, Sean, we're not talking about, I see your comments right now, but we're not talking about Delphi right now. This is straight Evansdale, okay? We're talking about Evansdale right now. All right. Anyway, so let's talk about this for a minute. That is a big thing. I had no idea that the girls were, the time they were spotted on the video camera at 12:11, that they were spotted riding away from Myers Lake. I had no idea. I thought they were riding towards Myers Lake this whole freaking time. They were spotted at 12:11 p.m. Now, their grandma said that they left their house no later than 12:15. So that definitely dropped the time back to about around 12 or a little, maybe around 12, or maybe a little after, because the store wasn't too far from grandma's house, especially when you're riding on a bike. They were spotted riding away. Now, I don't know the town of Evansdale, but I'm wondering how did they get back without not being spotted? Without being spotted, how did they get back? How did they get back? Police are saying that they don't think the people knew them. Okay. You just can't rule that out, though. You can't say, oh, we don't think the girls knew the killer. God, that's driving me nuts. I had no idea that the girls were seen riding away from Myers Lake. I thought they were seen riding towards it. And no other evidence after that. Nothing. Besides the finding of the girls' bikes on the corner of Myers Lake. That is very weird. That is very, very weird. God, that's driving me nuts. How is that? I'm sorry I'm making a big deal about this. I had no idea. I thought they were seen riding towards Myers Lake. That's huge. That is huge. So they were seen riding away from Myers Lake at 12:11 p.m. and nothing after that. No footage of them going back a few minutes later or even an hour later, anything. Because I would think, even because they were only gone 11 minutes. Let's say they left their house at 12. I mean, it being 12 on the dot, you never know. But let's say they left their grandmother's house at 12. They were spotted on the camera at 12:11 p.m. Okay, riding away. So they went down, turned around, and started coming back. Now, like I said earlier, their grandmother got worried after an hour. Okay, that's when she got concerned. So the girls were always very responsible of staying close by their grandmother's house, where their grandmother could see them or where they're checking in with her. Because like I said, when I was a kid, I was gone all day during the summertime. It was when the street lights came on, that's when my family wanted me home. So after an hour, grandma became concerned. They were very responsible. So they rode down and came back. Now, how did they get back without being seen? I gotta find witness statements in here. This is very, very odd. Let's see if we can find witness statements on this. Okay, over the next several months, the other three parents became notable figures in their own right. They fought for answers regarding their missing daughters. God, that must have been hard. Not knowing where your baby is. The following day, Misty was rushed to Allen's hospital after being found unresponsive. Misty was rushed to Allen's hospital after being found unresponsive at her home, where she took a bunch of medications and mixed it with alcohol. She would fully recover, but continued, of course, having meltdowns, which you can't blame. I mean, her baby girl's out there, she doesn't know what's happened. In 2014, Misty was sentenced to 10 years in prison for drug-related charges, but would be released from prison about a year later. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's parents, Drew and Heather Collins struggled to make sense of their daughter's tragic disappearance. Heather became a regular at the Hall of Law, giving out flyers and posters with the girls' images. Anyone that seemed interested. She even began collecting signatures for pensions. See, that's what I'm saying. We still got to do that now. It's been 9 years that this killer has gotten away with this. We need to keep the pressure on this case. We need to get more involved because this guy, he doesn't feel any pressure. He feels like he got away with it. It's been 9 years. So we got to put the pressure on that guy. I mean, he could be anywhere now. I mean, 9 years, that's way too long. That's way too long. I mean, he could be dead himself, died of old age. I mean, for real, 9 years. And they still won't release any information. Now, the parents, I know, didn't want to know how the girls were killed. They're totally fine not getting information from the police on what happened to the girls, what caused their death. But it's just like the Delphi case. If you want the public's help, you need to give the public more information. But they don't have a clue when it comes to this guy. With Delphi, Libby took out her phone and recording someone walking towards them. She at least did, had some evidence to help. With this, we have no clue. All right, Seven Bridges Wildlife. Okay. Seven Bridges Wildlife Park is about 20 miles northeast of Evansdale. Okay, so they were found 20 miles away, primarily as a hunting ground. All right, Seven Bridges is no stranger of unsavory behavior. So I'm assuming a lot of bad things, happen up there. Drug deals, fights, some kind of right there parties, scenes for, once upon a time ago, they had been the scene of underage parties for decades, dating back to the 1970s. Seven Bridges Park had been a place for high school students to meet up with other teenagers and to engage in underage drinking and bonfires. So it's basically activities from private eye, but over time, the meaning that was having trouble through the start of the 2007. Bridges Park has seen dozens of visits from sheriff deputies who were called to respond. Everything ended up in a revolving lab of hooligans tearing up the park's starting grass. Early in the day on Wednesday, December 5th, 2012, a group of hunters had been moving through the Seven Bridges Park when they came upon two sets of human remains. The remains have been somewhat skewered an isolated area of the park where foot traffic wasn't a huge concern. In fact, investigators stated that the remains were placed in a location that someone would have had to have almost been on top of the notice. If anyone was walking a few feet away from the remains, they would likely have missed them. Okay, so they were found in a place that wasn't easy to find. The two sets of humans appeared to be smaller stature. How can you do this? How can someone do this? You know, this case, Delphi, I mean, when it's these cases, this is hard. I mean, this is hard. Yeah, he could have died of COVID. Exactly. I mean, this guy got away with it for 9 years. Two little girls riding their bikes on a summer day. That's all they were doing. You know, having a good time. And today we're talking how it's been 9 years since their death and their killer is still out there walking around like nothing happened. Okay, so they had, excuse me. So they had false confessions. They had a couple false confessions. I got to find witness statements. I'll do that for the video. We'll do it later on. I need to find witness statements because I want to know what the witnesses said. I won't say the witnesses' names, but I want to know what they said. The only thing I know for sure that they said is that they saw an older white SUV around the area. Now the remains, so the girls were there the whole time. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but let's say the girls were out there for the whole 5 months. Now, I'm not real sure of Evansdale. I honestly don't have any idea about Evansdale as a town. Now, I know the lakes area. Wouldn't there be animals and stuff out there? Is there animals in that area if anybody knows? I don't know. I don't know anything about Evansdale at all. I know it's a small town. I know it's near Waterloo. And I know it's the town where two angels who never harmed a soul were brutally murdered. And I say the word brutally because they were innocent and their lives were taken. That's brutal and that's pure freaking evil to do that. I mean, 9 years. I mean, it really didn't hit me until last night when I was editing the other video. So I did a video about this case a couple days ago. You know, because I already did one before and didn't get a whole lot of views on it. So I decided to do another one just a couple days ago. And then I remembered today was the anniversary. So I said, instead of uploading that one right away, we'll wait, you know, a few days and we'll do it live for the girls on their anniversary of their death. But I can't believe it's driving me nuts. They were last seen riding away from Myers Lake. That is just huge for me. I can't believe that. I can't believe I didn't know beforehand. I can't figure this out. I can't understand like how they were last seen going away. I gotta look up the maps here in Evansdale. Let me look this up. I was doing this with Delphi earlier today. Let me look up Evansdale, Iowa. I'm looking up on my phone. We're going to do satellite. Okay, now let's see. Okay, now let's see. Evansdale, there it is. Here we go. All right. Pointer Elementary School. Memorial Skate Park. There's a skate park. Budger Middle School. So it's a small town, but it's not that small. Waterloo. Okay. So Waterloo connects to Evansdale. Okay, I see. All right, now where's Myers Lake? I gotta get the map. I'll do it on the video that we're doing later on. But you know, I was supposed to go more on this feed, but honestly, now that I don't know that the girls were riding away from Myers Lake, it's a little different for me. You know, I wasn't expecting that at all. I mean, I really wasn't. It's definitely something that I was not expecting. Real quick, let me do this. Yeah, sorry, my phone just froze. I was trying to look something up, but I don't know. I really don't know. You know, it's I wish I could say more when it comes to this, but we just don't know. We don't have any kind of evidence. I don't think the cops have a whole lot of evidence. You know, they don't have a clue. 9 years. I think the only thing we can hope for is a confession. 9 years. 9 years. Or he talks about it. Maybe the one that did it, told somebody. I doubt it, but I don't know. 9 years ago today, Lyric, Cook, Morrissey, and Elizabeth Collins were murdered, and their killer is walking the streets today. Could be anywhere. I don't even think that they don't have any DNA. They don't have fingerprints after 5 months till they were recovered. I do apologize how I get emotional when it comes to these cases. I do apologize that I get upset and repeat myself. It's just, I'm trying to just, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the girls were riding away from Myers Lake. And that's just huge. That really is. Because that makes you question a lot. But that's going to be it as of right now, guys. I do appreciate all your support, and I do apologize we weren't able to get the video ups in time. I'll be doing another one later on today. I'll be uploading a Delphi one, and another Evansdale will be uploaded, I would say, in 2 days. There's some stuff we need to add to it now, but Delphi will be uploaded tonight. So I would appreciate your support. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor and hit subscribe. You can get a free Bad Habits Kingdom t-shirt. And that would be it. And I hope everybody stays safe. And I really appreciate your guys' support. And if you can, definitely let me know what you guys think about the Evansdale case. I know we all talked a lot about Delphi, but we definitely need to get more pressure on this case. We definitely need to. I'm actually personally going to call Evansdale police and see if they've heard, if there's any kind of update. It's been 9 years to the day, so we'll see what we can. All right, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you later on.